Welcome back into Talking Points. Let's take a look at what Stephen Miller had to say at Madison Square Garden last week.
Who's going to stand up for our daughters? Who's going to stand up for the girls of America, the women of America, the families of America? Who's going to stand up and say the cartels are gone, the criminal migrants are gone, the gangs are gone, America is for Americans and Americans only?
That was Stephen Miller, a top immigration advisor to the president-elect. Sources tell CNN's Elena Treen that Miller will return to the White House, this time as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. We discussed that with our professor panel earlier. Some pretty inflammatory rhetoric.
Yeah, Miller previously worked as Trump's lead speechwriter and has pushed for mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Joining us now to unpack Trump and Miller's expansive immigration plans is Talking Points analyst Peter Berry. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Luke and Jake. How's it going? So immigration and its policy was a centerpiece in the Trump campaign for his presidential campaign in 2024. But even when he wins, he's still talking about sealing the border. Take a listen to one of his victory speeches after he won the presidential election.
We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally.
According to Pew, there's around 47.5 million immigrants living in the U.S., and around 11 million of them are living here illegally. But he's called on some people, such as former ICE Director Tom Homan and now Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, to handle the mass deportations. But he's also circling it around some main issues such as jobs, that 8.3 million immigrants, undocumented immigrants, are taking the American jobs. Take a listen to one of his rallies.
Just they're taking your jobs. They're taking your jobs. Every job produced in this country over the last 2 years has gone to illegal aliens. Every job. Think of it. What we're doing to this country is so sad.
Well, maybe not every job has been taken, but two of the main businesses that will be affected are construction and agriculture. According to CNBC, 14% of the construction workers in America are undocumented. And according to the Department of Agriculture, 41% of farm workers are undocumented workers. But let's take a look at some of the policies here. He's going to talk about going back to 2016, building the wall and renewing the Muslim bans, trying to stem the mass flow in immigration. He's also having remain in Mexico. Immigrants are having their case heard and they're going to stay in Mexico. But Trump doesn't really care about the price tag for taxpayers. But how much are they going to foot the bill? Well, Tom Homan, now the Trump border czar, had a CBS News interview on 60 Minutes. Let's take a listen to what he said about the budget.
It would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is.
According to CBS News, it would cost around $20,000 to deport each and every migrant. But Stephen Miller, the Deputy Chief of Staff, also talked about putting soldiers on the southern border. Here's what he said at CPAC in February.
Deputize the National Guard to carry out immigration enforcement, and then you also deploy the military to the southern border, not just with a mission to observe, but with an impedance and denial mission. In other words, you reassert the fundamental constitutional principle that you don't have a right to enter into our sovereign territory, to even request the asylum claim. The military has the right to establish a fortress position on the border and to say no one can cross here at all.
A lot of the illegal immigrants are living in democratic states, so it's going to be a court battle for the federal government to fight the states' governments as Trump tries to push his agenda here. Luke and Jake, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
Peter, thanks so much. The proposal there from The potential, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, is to use troops on kids and families seeking asylum in the United States.
Something that you can expect to be a tough court battle, and also something that he mentioned that might put strain on the economy. With historically low unemployment. If they're losing laborers who are undocumented immigrants, there might be a strain on that. That might affect wages of Americans who were born right here in the United States. But